It's hard to believe it's been a decade since I first stepped into the world of Destiny. 10 years, that's a huge chunk of my life. My journey with Destiny began in December 2014 when I upgraded my Xbox 360 to the Xbox One. Coming from the competitive world of Halo and the intense scope of Gears of War, Destiny was a breath of fresh air. It was a universe filled with wonder and mystery, a sprawling adventure with the promise of an evolving world. For the first time, I feel like I was embarking on a journey that would evolve alongside me, a character that would grow and change as I did in the real world. Even now, booting about Destiny feels like a wave of nostalgia. Landing in the tower, navigating that old UI map, setting off to explore those planets. Every step was a new discovery. I also vividly remember finishing the campaign right before work one day and thinking, wait, that's it? There's no way that's it. I couldn't believe it just ended. After the credits rolled, I was a bit lost. I dabbled in everything, strikes, Crucible, and other things. But it wasn't until my girlfriend joined me about a month later that Destiny felt better. We explored together, we learned the ropes, and quickly caught up to the endgame. We knew about the Vault of Glass raid, but with no in-game matchmaking, it felt like an impossible dream at the time. Little did we know, our raiding adventures were actually around the corner. The Dark Below took us deep into the Hellmouth on the Moon, which all led up to a short but awesome raid fight against Crota, the Hive God. Eris Morn became our guide through this dark new chapter. We got some new weapons and armor, and the story missions were a decent challenge, especially for those who hadn't tackled raids yet. The Crota's raid seemed like a great new challenge added to the game. Unfortunately, this was yet another raid I missed when it was released. Either way, I was excited to come back and finish the raid later when I had a team. House of Wolves shifted the focus to the Fallen, introducing the Reef and the Queen's Wrath. This expansion came with a greater emphasis on story and some fun new activities. The Prison of Elders was a blast, offering a Horde mode style experience with escalating difficulty. Plus, Trials of Osiris made its debut, bringing a whole new level of competitive PvP to the Crucible. Overall, these expansions had their ups and downs. The Dark Below felt like a bit light on content, while House of Wolves offered a more well-rounded experience. They weren't perfect, but they added so much more needed variety to the Destiny universe and set the stage for the bigger and bolder expansions to come to Destiny. The Taken King wasn't just an expansion, it was a resurrection. Destiny had been struggling, but the Taken King breathed a new life into the game. And it was right here, amidst the Hive ruins and the ominous shadows of the Dreadnought, that my girlfriend and I truly fell in love with this universe. The expansion also added new supers for all three classes: Night Stalker for the Hunters, Sunbreaker for the Titans, and Stormcallers for the Warlocks. And then there was the Dreadnought, an imposing fortress in the rings of Saturn. Every corner we turned held the promise of secrets to be discovered. The strikes were incredible too. The Shield Brothers strike, with an intense boss fight and unique mechanics, quickly became my favorite. Each encounter felt epic, and the challenge was exactly what we craved. The story campaign was excellent. The hunt for Oryx ending in that final battle in his throne world was nothing short of breathtaking. The sense of scale, the epic music, the sheer challenge of it all. It was an unforgettable experience. And of course, it all led to the legendary King's Fall raid. With the Taken King completed, the Destiny universe had been redefined, leaving players eager to see what was next on the horizon. By this point, Destiny had truly become the game Bungie promised us. Rise of Iron felt like a culmination of everything they learned, a love letter to the community before the leap of Destiny 2. With 13 strikes, 3 raids, Prison of Elders, and 22 PvP maps, there was an incredible amount of content to explore by now. This expansion was meant to be the grand finale before the sequel, and what a finale it was. We got a new story campaign centered around the Iron Lords, a brand new zone called the Plaguelands to explore, and a thrilling new raid called Wrath of the Machine. Expectations were sky high. Everyone was buzzing with excitement, eager to see what Bungie had in store for the future of Destiny. Rise of Iron delivered a satisfying conclusion to the first chapter of this epic saga, leaving us hungry for more. When Destiny 2 launched, it was supposed to feel like a fresh start, except it didn't actually feel like a fresh start. I mean, sure, there was a shiny new engine and some crisp graphics, but there was also this nagging sense of loss. The Red Legion didn't just storm the last city and blew up the tower, they also blew up our vault. All those exotics, all those legendaries we painstakingly collected, gone. It was a harsh reminder that this was a clean slate, a new beginning. And it wasn't just our gear that got left behind. The Traveler, our source of light, was imprisoned. We were powerless, stripped from our abilities, forced to start from scratch. It was a humbling experience to say the least. It wasn't just some arbitrary, you're starting a new game mechanic. It was a narrative gut punch, a way to make us feel the weight of the Red Legion's invasion. And you know what? It worked. That feeling of vulnerability, of us having to claw our way back to power, made the eventual return of our light all the more satisfying. Destiny 2's opening was a rollercoaster of emotions, loss, desperation, determination, and ultimately, triumph. It was a bold way to kick off a new era, and it left a lasting impression. Curse of Osiris kicked things off, taking us to the Mercury, introducing the legendary warlock Osiris. The Infinite Forest had potential, with its procedurally generated areas, but it quickly became repetitive. And the story, well, let's just say it didn't quite live up to the hype. It felt rushed, and the stakes never seemed that high. Plus, Osiris ended up being kind of a letdown. Not exactly the mythical hero we were expecting. Warmind fared a bit better. We headed to Mars, which was a return planet from D1, battled some icy hive, and even got a new horde mode called Escalation Protocol. The story was a slight improvement over Curse of Osiris, but it still felt a bit underwhelming. And that final boss fight against Zol, the worm god, it was over way too quickly. Not the epic showdown I was hoping for. But hey, it wasn't all that bad. Both expansions gave us some cool new weapons, new gear, and new locations. While small, they were fun to explore. Plus, Warmind gave us the Whisper of the War mission, which was an absolute blast. Sneaking through those tunnels, solving puzzles, all while on a timer, meant that finally earning that awesome sniper was worth it.
Any last words?
How's your sister?
Now Forsaken, this is where Destiny 2 truly hit its stride. This expansion was a redemption from the ashes of those lackluster's first DLCs. And for me, it was even more special because I got a sneak peek at what was coming. I was lucky enough to attend E3 the year before Forsaken launched, and let me tell you, the hype was real. Getting hands-on with Gambit for the first time, seeing those new supers in action, and exploring the Dreaming City, it was an unforgettable experience. It made the wait for the expansion even more agonizing, but it also amplified the excitement tenfold. But back to the expansion itself. The story, for starters, was a masterpiece. The death of Cayde 6, our Hunter Vanguard, was a deep cut. It was a bold move by Bungie, and it paid off big time. The quest for revenge against Aldrin Sov and the Scorn Barons was a gripping narrative, full of emotions of highs and lows. And the content? Oh man, did Forsaken deliver. 4 new strikes, 4 new Crucible maps, and the brand new game mode Gambit. Forsaken also introduced bows to the mix, and Le Monarque quickly became my favorite after acquiring it. And let's not forget the Dreaming City, a stunning new destination with secrets everywhere. The Shattered Throne, Destiny's first dungeon, offered a challenging and rewarding experience. And then there was The Last Wish, an epic journey through a breathtaking landscape, ending by a battle against Riven, a wish-granting dragon. Forsaken was a game changer. It revitalized Destiny 2, bringing back the magic and excitement that had been missing. It was a reminder of what Bungie is capable of when they're firing on all cylinders. It was, in a word, legendary. This expansion was different. It was Bungie's first major expansion after the split from Activision, and I was ready to see what they made now as an independent studio. The most obvious change is we returned to the moon. This wasn't just a nostalgic trip down memory lane, it was a reimagining of the classic destination. The moon was bigger, darker, and more mysterious than ever before. We went to the depths of the Scarlet Keep, confronted nightmares from our past, and uncovered secrets buried beneath the lunar surface. The Garden of Salvation raid was another highlight. This Vex-themed raid was a visual spectacle, with intricate puzzles and challenging encounters. It was a reminder that Bungie still knows how to design complex and rewarding raid experiences. We also saw the return of Eris Morn, and the introduction of the mysterious pyramid ships looming in the background. These were all seeds planted in Shadowkeep that would evolve in the years to come in Destiny. Beyond Light was a turning point in the Destiny universe. It was the expansion that finally let us embrace the darkness powers, and these new powers were called Stasis. It was a game changer, literally opening up a whole new realm of possibilities in combat like we've never seen before. But that power came at a cost, a big cost. To make way for this new era, Bungie vaulted a significant amount of Destiny 2's content. Planets, raids, even an entire storylines were removed from the game. It was a controversial move, and understandably so. It felt like we were losing more than we were gaining from this expansion. Europa was the new playground. It was a beautiful and desolate landscape, full of secrets and hidden dangers. The story campaign focused on Aramis, the Call of Darkness, and her fallen army. It was a decent story, but it didn't quite reach to the heights of Forsaken. The Deepstone raid, however, was a standout. This raid was truly embraced by the verticality of Europa, with thrilling encounters and breathtaking views. It was also a raid steeped into Destiny lore, delving into the origins of the Exo and the mysteries of Chloe's Bray. Ultimately, Beyond Light was a bold step in the new era for Destiny. It gave us the power of darkness, but it also forced us to confront the consequences of the power. It was a reminder that progress often comes at a cost, and that Destiny universe is consistently evolving, sometimes in ways we don't expect. This expansion was the beginning of the end. The Witch Queen marked the start of the final act in the Light and Darkness saga, a thrilling escalation towards the conclusion in the final shape, and what a beginning it was. The story of Savathun, the Hive God of Cunning, is absolutely gripping. Bungie masterfully weaves the tales of betrayal, intrigue, and shocking revelations that kept me guessing until the very end. It also dwelled very deep into the lore, raising the stakes and finally answering some very old questions about the Hive. But it wasn't just a story. The Witch Queen introduced a legendary campaign mode, and let me tell you, it was brutal. Every encounter felt like a raid boss, demanding teamwork, strategy, and a deep understanding of your Guardian's abilities. The Witch Queen brought us Vow the Disciple, and with it, my first ever taste of a day 1 raid race in contest mode. We may have not conquered the raid, but we spent 14 hours in there trying our best. The pressure was on, every encounter was a puzzle to solve, and the sense of competition with other fire teams across the world was electric. Weapon crafting was also added to the game, which brought a whole new dimension for unique customization on weapon rolls. Savathun's throne world was visually stunning and packed with secrets to uncover in its own twisted way. The Witch Queen left me on the edge of my seat, desperate to know what happens next. I was ready to see how this incredible story unfolds in the next expansion. After the Witch Queen, I was expecting the best. This was supposed to be Destiny's Infinity War moment, the epic turning point that set the stage for the grand finale in the final shape. But when it finally arrived, it fell flat. The story campaign was a confusing mess, riddled with plot holes and underwhelming character arcs. The Witness, hyped up as this ultimate villain, barely even made an appearance. And the ending? What was the ending? It felt like it left us more with questions than answers. Neomuna, while visually impressive, felt strangely lifeless. The Cloud Striders were cool in concept, but they lacked the depth and personality of any other Destiny factions. And the overall narrative of Neomuna felt disconnected from the larger story at play. Strand, the new Darkness subclass, was sweet to use. Grappling around the environment, tangling everything around you was a ton of fun. But even Strand couldn't save Lightfall from its narrative shortcomings. The raid, Root of Nightmares, was visually stunning. Battling through the Witness ship was a unique experience, but it was also one of the easiest raids in Destiny history. Even on contest mode, many fire teams cleared it within hours of its release, leaving a sense of disappointment for those who craved a greater challenge. Perhaps the most damaging aspect of Lightfall was its impact to the community. The letdown was so profound that many players simply stopped playing. Lightfall was a stumble, a missed opportunity. It raised serious concerns whether Destiny could recover and deliver a satisfying conclusion to its 10-year saga in the final shape.
The final shape is coming.
It was finally here. 10 years of ups and downs, everything led up to this expansion, and what a way to close out the decade of Destiny. It felt like Bungie took a deep breath, listened to the feedback from Lightfall, and poured their hearts and souls into this final chapter. While it didn't give us a new super in the traditional sense, it gave us something even better: transcendence. This ability to weave light and dark powers together opened up a whole new dimension of gameplay, allowing us to customize our builds and playstyles like we've never seen before. It was the perfect evolution of the Guardian power fantasy. Although, I do feel like they rushed into these new subclasses' abilities a bit too quickly. It took some time to really grasp the full potential of Transcendence and how it impacted the flow of combat. But once it clicked, it was pure magic. Stepping into the Traveler gave us a way to explore a distorted version of the original tower. It was a nostalgia trip that hit all the right notes. It was a reminder of how far we've come, of all the adventures we've shared, and the bonds that we forged along the way. We also got a return of a very memorable character, Cade 6. Even for a brief time, was a beautiful touch. Seeing our old pal again, sharing a few laughs, shedding a few tears, brought a sense of closure that we didn't quite get in Forsaken. This time, it felt like a proper goodbye, a bittersweet farewell to a beloved character. The campaign structure was a welcome change too. Instead of the usual chaotic jumping between planets and missions, the final shape took us on a focused, linear journey, pushing us to our final confrontation with the Witness. It felt like a classic hero's journey with a clear sense of purpose and momentum. The final shape introduced the Subjugators. These formidable foes wielded the power of stasis and strand, adding a new layer of challenge to combat encounters on the field. And then there was the raid, Salvation's Edge. Bungie clearly heard the feedback about Lightfall's raid being too easy. They cranked up the difficulty up to 11, delivering a truly challenging and rewarding experience. It took the world's first team a grueling 19 hours to complete in contest mode, a testament to its complexity and intensity. The Witness was a formidable foe, toying with us throughout the raid, disrupting our strategies and unleashing his full power. The final encounter was epic, with the Witness towering over us like a malevolent god. But we prevailed, not just as a fire team, but as a community. The final mission, where 12 Guardians joined forces to vanquish the Witness, was a fitting climax to the 10-year saga. It was a moment of triumph, of unity, and of ultimate victory. The final shape brought the Light and Darkness saga to a satisfying close. The last city was safe, all enemies had become allies, and we had said our final goodbyes to those who we lost. It was an emotional rollercoaster, a celebration of everything that makes Destiny uniquely special. So where do I go from here? Honestly, after conquering the Salvation raid, I needed a break from Destiny. It felt like the appropriate time to take a pause since the 10-year story had just been concluded. I did try the new episodes and seasons, but I haven't felt the same pull to the grind or world building immersion I did before. I do, however, still jump in when I can to be a Sherpa for those in need of raid clears. Destiny has been a great journey for me. So many things have happened in my life in the past 10 years. I moved from Los Angeles to another state, made countless friends playing this game, bought so many Destiny collectibles, and I got engaged with my girlfriend with some custom Gears of War rings. I'm glad I was part of Destiny's saga. That said, I'm super excited to see where Destiny goes next. 10 years of storytelling is a massive achievement, and I'm really hoping Bungie knocks it out of the park with the upcoming expansions. Maybe they'll rekindle the fire in me. Who knows? Either way, I'll always cherish the memories I made in this incredible universe. Whether I'm actively playing or just watching from the sidelines, Destiny will always hold a special place in my gaming heart. And with that, Guardians, the Light and Darkness saga comes to a close. What a journey it's been. 10 years of epic battles, emotional moments, and unforgettable memories. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this massive recap. This was my first ever video game review, and I poured my heart and soul into it. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. As a new YouTuber, your support means the world to me and helps me create even more content. I've got other ideas for some other games reviews, which I'm currently working on, so stay tuned for more. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What were your favorite moments from the past decade of Destiny? Any controversial opinions you want to share? Let's start a conversation in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one.